quick question, bookers and bookettes. If I were to tell you that this week's featured author in the About the Author segment had or has a sibling, a spouse, and a child to go on and become successful authors in their own rights, would you have any idea who it is? Well, if you're like me and you didn't know, I will reveal it shortly. But before I do, let me just say, hello, bookers and bookettes, once again. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Blue-Eyed Black Devil, and I am here with this week's About the Author. This week is none other than Anne Rice. Howard Allen Francis O'Brien was born on October 4th, 1941 in New Orleans, Louisiana. The second of four daughters born to parents, Howard O'Brien, her father, and I will talk about that in a little bit. But Howard O'Brien and her mother was Catherine or Kay Allen O'Brien. Her father was a World War II naval veteran who later went on to become a personnel executive for the U.S. Postal Service. Her mother was I guess today they're stay-at-home moms, but we knew them as homemakers. Anne married her high school sweetheart, Stan Rice, an accomplished poet in his own right. Now, together they had two children, a daughter, Michelle, born September 21st, 1966, and a son, Christopher, born March 11th, 1978. However, tragedy struck in 1972. Michelle, whose nickname was Mouse, passed away from a rare form of leukemia just shy of her 6th birthday. Wow, that was sad. Now Christopher, Anne and Stan's son, he would also go on to become a best-selling author himself. Now, there we have it. At the top of the video, I asked if you all knew an author that had a sibling, a spouse, and a child to be successful poets. Well, the sibling, I'm getting ready to tell you about, but the spouse was her husband, Stan. He was a well-established poet. And then their son, Christopher, was also a novelist, or is also a novelist. Now, I saw somewhere where her father had written one novel. It was called Impulsive Imp or The Impulsive Imp. I don't know. But he completed the novel and it was released posthumously, after he passed away. But now, she also has an older sister, Alice. Alice, by profession, was something called a vocational nurse. I never heard of that. What is that? I guess right now, if you're listening to me, you're thinking, well, you don't know much of nothing. I didn't know what an observant Catholic is or was, and I don't know what a vocational nurse is. And Lord, in the first 16 years of my life, I probably had been seen and treated by every descriptive nurse medicine had to offer. But none of them were referred to as vocational nurses. Okay, anyway, later on in her life, right after she retired, I should say, she too would become a best-selling author in her own right. So she is the sibling. Now, they, meaning Alice and Anne, also had a cousin, Alan Davio or Davio. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name, but he was a cinematographer. He worked with Steven Spielberg on the movie The Color Purple, and he had a couple of other ones under his belt. So there you have it. A sibling, a spouse, a parent, a cousin, and I still feel like I left somebody out. But anyway, you get the point. Anne and Stan had been married 42 years when Stan passed away from brain cancer at age 60. About her, meaning Anne's, giving male names at birth. There seems to have been two different stories. Anne's parents told her different stories at different times. And she said her mother, said that she named her Howard because she simply thought it was a good idea. She thought it was just great. Why not name you Howard? But after she saw how self-conscious Anne was about her male name, she goes back. I think she was trying to smooth things over and told her that she really named her Howard because she felt it would give her an unusual advantage in the world. Her dad said he named her Howard because he remembered growing up, Howard was primarily a girl's name. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I know for a fact I have never heard of a woman, a girl, being named Howard. Now, I know I've heard of and know some Willies, like Willie Mae, Willie Jean, Willie Ruth even, Jimmy Ruth, but never Howard anything. So. And I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, she was born in 1917. But that went out the window when it dawned on me my grandmother was born in 1918. And she was an excellent storyteller. Oral history, she was good. But not one time did she ever tell me she knew anybody, any females, named Howard. Now, to some degree, I think her mother, Catherine, indirectly may have been right, because I say that for this reason. Back in the day, when you went to apply for a job, you would go get the application 9 times out of 10. You didn't see anybody, or if you did, it certainly wasn't the person that would interview you. You may have seen whoever was sitting behind the desk that directed you to the application. You get the paper application, you fill it out, you take it back. Whenever it goes across the person's desk who needs to see it, they like you, they love you, they love everything about you on paper. So, and it may have been like a job maybe where they had been trying to fill a position forever and a day. And so they thought when they saw your application that you were everything they ever could hope for in an employee. So they called you up, scheduled the interview. You go to the interview, you come in, and your name is Howard on the application. but clearly you're a female. I think that's part of why nowadays, most of the time, you have to fill the applications out wherever it is you're trying to get a job. So if it took you 15 minutes to fill the application out, chances are you're going to see some personnel staff. They may see you, neither one of you paying each other any attention at the time. But the one thing they do know is you go sit right there and fill that application out and leave it there. I think it may have helped them establish a face with the name. I don't know, but that would be my reason her mother, thought it would give her an unusual advantage. If they still went on to interview you, knowing your name was Howard, they may have hired you simply because they were in shock. You threw them in a trick bag, as they say. They might have felt compelled to hire you. I don't know. All of this is clearly not thinking, not that. Now, as for the middle name being Alice, I believe that, I don't know if I said Alice or Allen, but I meant to say Allen. I don't know that they gave Allen as a middle name for all 4 of their children, but I do know that Ann's older sister, Alice, and she both have Allen as their middle name. Now, in the South, a lot of times when women marry, they will give their daughters or sons whatever their last name was. Like in my case, I'm the oldest of 4 girls, and ooh-wee, it's a lot of us. But I never named either one of my children as a part of my last name. I didn't want their last name to be, one of their first or second names. But yeah, people used to do that back then, and I think they still do to some degree. Sadly, Ann's mother, Catherine, or Kay O'Brien, passed away in 1949 due to alcoholism. She was only 48 years old. Her oldest child was only 16 years old. Now, Ann and her husband, Stan, both admitted later in life that they had struggled with alcohol addiction. They stopped in 1979 because Ann said that she did not want her son to see her in a drunken state a lot. So they stopped. They never, I don't know if they had any relapses or not, but they did stop in 1979. 2007, Ann posted something about being alcoholic free for 28 years at that time. Now, on December 11th, 2021, Ann Rice passed away from complications of a stroke. She was living at the time in Rancho Mirage, California, and she was 80 years old. Now, I told you guys in my last video that I was going to start to include books by whoever I'm profiling, and this week is Ann Rice. Okay, so her first book was published in 1976, and that one was entitled Interview with the Vampire. It was later adapted into a film in 1994. So the next book is Cry to Heaven, then Queen of the Damned, followed by Blood Communion and The Witching Hour, which is the only book I've ever read by her. It was really great, but it's a hell of a long read. So, I enjoyed it, I must say. Now, this concludes this week's segment of About the Author, featuring Anne Rice. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening. Subscribers, please don't forget to like and share this video. Visitors, if you happen upon the video, please feel free to join the channel. We would love to have you here. And by all means, if leaving a comment, please do so respectfully. Make sure your notification bells are on for what good it's doing. Just make sure they're on. And also remember, if you have not seen a video from me within 7 days of the last one I posted, you probably need to search for me, because I'm still here. So I would appreciate it if you all keep that in mind. I guess I could say after 7, because I want you to check if you haven't gotten one. I'm still here. Anyway, thank you all for listening and or watching again. And you know what I'm getting ready to say, don't you? Book lovers, bookers, and bookettes alike. Remember this, as long as there are books around, there's always something to read. Book lovers, bookers, and bookettes, be safe. Thanks for watching and or listening, and God bless.